It is time for Around the 412 with Smitty and Tyler.
Welcome back to another episode of Around the 412. I am Tyler. With me, as always, is my co-host Smitty. Go follow us on all of our social medias at Around the 412. Also, subscribe to the channel over on YouTube if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a video, and follow us everywhere you listen to the podcast as well, whether that's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else you can find podcasts. Also, check out the description of each and every show. You'll find all the links to our great sponsors, as well as the link to Rockin' Around the 412 Year 8. If you don't know, that is our Christmas fundraiser that we put on every single year. Starting on July 1st is when we kick off the GoFundMe. So if you want to get involved right now, you can. Some people have done so early on, and so we have the link to the GoFundMe in the description, as well as later on in the fall, the East Rochester Salvation Army will put out their angel tree, and you can adopt kids off of that and take the tags off the tree. Provide children Christmas that way too. So if you're unaware, Smitty and I never had to worry about where Christmas was coming from going up. So we wanted to be able to give back the best that we can and provide as many children in the local Pittsburgh area the Christmas that they've always deserved. So there's two ways to be able to do that: the GoFundMe and the angel tree. Like I said, the angel tree is probably not going to be until, I would guess, is it normally like October is whenever that starts actually happening, like a couple months from Christmas. At least that's why I feel like it happens. Then the GoFundMe is right now. So if you want to get involved right now, you can click on the GoFundMe. You can share it. You can donate to it if you would like. And if you donate to it, you're not going to see on the GoFundMe because we had a little hiccup. This is a first this year. Apparently, you're not allowed to say that you're going to do any giveaways for people that do donate as incentive. So in the description, it will say that we are not doing giveaways. However, if you listen to the show, if you see what we are doing, we are still doing giveaways. And that includes a lot of Pittsburgh sports memorabilia, Penguins tickets typically. And so, yeah, don't worry about that. If you want to get involved and you're like, hey, where's my giveaway potential? It's still there. We're just not allowed to say it explicitly anymore.
Yeah, so for all you guys that are out there donating just because you want to win a prize, don't worry. You're still to be eligible to do so. But yeah, over $500 raised so far this year. So we're very thankful if you've already been a part of it. Thankful for anybody that's been a part of it in the past. The Pittsburgh Pirates, I don't know that we're going to be throwing around the word thankful very much when it comes to them, but had a fun little stretch over the course of, last week. I guess didn't stretch into this week, huh? I think was Sunday the last day, maybe, of that streak, or was it Saturday?
No, I think it was Sunday.
Okay. So, yeah, I guess it's stretching. Some people view Sunday as the first day of the week, or some people view it as the very last day of the week. It's up to you. But anyways, historic 6-game stretch for the Pittsburgh Pirates, where they had the largest run differential of any 6-game span in MLB history, outscoring their opponents by 41 runs, I believe, within a 6-game stretch, which is just unbelievable. And the fact that it was the 2025 Pirates to do it, even more unbelievable. And then they follow that up by getting swept by the Seattle Mariners and not scoring a single run. First team, they also made history here. First team in history to sweep a series while not giving up a run, and then get swept in the following series while not scoring a run. The Pirates, one thing about them, they'll make history. It's just typically they're on the wrong side of it.
Well, at least if they're going to suck, they're going to suck with style. It's how I'd look at it. That series, there's a couple series when they won the Mets series and the St. Louis series. That was fun baseball. And I think that who was it that I saw? Maybe it was Jim from North Shore 9 said that you could potentially say that this is the best 6-game stretch in MLB history that the Pirates just played. And then they followed it up by getting shut out and swept by Seattle. Which
and haven't scored a run tonight, by the way. So
unsurprising a little bit that is going to be the case. But yeah, I mean, it was fun to at least watch that 6-game stretch. It reminded me a little bit of, obviously the win streak wasn't as long, but remember back in 2018 whenever they were in a similar scenario, probably not quite as bad as they've been this season, but then they go on an 11-game winning streak going towards the trade deadline, and that kind of put Huntington in a scenario where it's like, how do I not make a move at this point? Because they played themselves back into potential contention, and that's the reason that they had a winning season that year, which I feel like all of us either want to forget about or just choose to forget about, that they had a winning season in 2018. That 11-game win streak is probably the thing that has damned the Pirates the most over the past 7 seasons. But regardless, I had similar whiffs of that with this season. Obviously, this team's worse, but for how well that they were playing in those 6 games, it was like, I don't know what changed, because the pitching.
Well, it started to kind of feel like we brought up a topic on here. Was it 2 podcasts ago? Like, are we going to end up seeing Ben Sherrington's job get saved because of what this team plays like under Don Kelly?
Yeah,
that was a real fear. And then that 6-game stretch happens, and like that is immediately where my mind went, was, oh my God, they're going to play well enough where they don't can this guy. Like, but I mean, we've come back to reality now. They've scored 3 runs in their last 4 games, and that was all in 1 game, and they're getting shut out tonight right now as recording this. So we'll see if that continues.
Maybe it'll be perfectly balanced, as all things should be. They win 6 games in a row, and then they lose the ensuing 6 games in a row after that.
Like, okay, so understanding that in the case of this, it was like historically good, that stretch. But this just tells me what we already knew, where it's like in a 162-game season, like the MLB has, even the worst of teams are going to have stretches of looking like a good team. The Pirates in this case were just like historically good in that stretch.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. And we have talked about that over several seasons, how there are ebbs and flows in a MLB season, and it's not always going to be doom and gloom, and it's not always going to be rainbows and sunshine. I feel like you've seen that this year, where there's times where the Pirates look like they can play good baseball, and considering that this stretch was historical, that is definitely the case. But then they come back to reality of what they've been, where they continue to get solid pitching but no offense. And that's kind of the story, and I think that's going to be the overall arc of how this season is going to play out the rest of the way. But you've gotten the pitching, you've gotten good enough starts to be able to win the games. The offense has just been able to, or not been able to, provide any supporting runs in those circumstances. And I feel like that's just going to be the overall story for this season. And yeah. I'm wondering what you're happy about.
Well, okay, so they're no longer getting shut out. And one of the other topics we would have talked about here is Oneil Cruz participating in the home run derby. He just hit a home run into the waterfall at Kauffman Stadium against the Kansas City Royals. Breaking the shutout there, and it's funny that it's Oneil Cruz a home run doing so. When we come back, we'll talk about it. But when Oneil Cruz is on, he is certainly a game changer. What's going on, everybody? Smitty from Around the 412, and I just want to take a quick second to give a shout out to our folks at Game Changers. Their logo on the screen right now, right above my microphone. Over 2,000 different designs in their catalog. Luxury heavyweight material. I am wearing one of their shirts right now. Best vintage t-shirts in the game. Head over to gamechanger.la or pick6.la to pick up some shirts. And guess what? Use code AT412. Save yourself $10 on your order every single time. Again, gamechanger.la or pick6.la. Best vintage t-shirts in the game. Check them out. And they actually have an Oneil Cruz Game Changer shirt. So there you go. Check it out if you'd like. I want your opinion on this. In a season where there's not much positive going on, Oneil Cruz, it's announced that he's playing the home run derby, and I just see a bunch of people like, oh, he's not deserving, all this other stuff. I feel like they're like directly associating this with the All-Star game just because it takes place at the same time. It doesn't mean he's an All-Star. But if you have a field of 10 guys, or is it 8 guys? How many more guys in the MLB are there that are more fun to watch take batting practice than Oneil Cruz? Like, I'm not even saying as a biased fan either, just like the enigma that he is, the unicorn that he is. When he's on, again, as I just said, I feel like he truly is a game changer. How many more guys than him in the MLB would you pick to be in something like this anyway?
No, I think that's a fair point. I mean, he is a unicorn in just, I feel like the sport in general. You look at someone of that size and the power that he brings, and I feel like it's continuous that he has. I mean, he does have, I believe, the hardest hit baseball since they've been recording it in the Statcast era, and obviously Oneil has not had a great season. It's been pretty lackluster as far as the average goes, and the on base as far as what the expectations would be and what the Pirates fans would want to see. But as far as being just like a raw talent, even regardless of what statistical output you're putting up, I feel like for something like the home run derby, it's going to be entertaining because, like you said, this doesn't necessarily mean he's an all-star. He's just participating in an event that happens at the all-star break. And I feel like that is something that will be entertaining to see. I hope that he does well. And maybe this will have an opposite effect of how the home run derby typically is looked at from a lot of MLB players. And I feel like there's a lot of superstition to it, but like you participate in the home run derby, then it throws your swing off and you don't do well the rest of the season. For Oneil, maybe it has the opposite effect, and that would be a good thing for the Pirates. Maybe he figures out his swing by taking so many moonshots in the home run derby and is able to bring up that average a little bit more and get more consistent with the bat for the rest of the season. But I have no issue with Oneil Cruz being in the home run derby. I think it's going to be entertaining. Like I think that what anybody would want from a home run derby, I don't necessarily think it has to be deserving. I think you just want the most athletic freaks as far as like the potential of hitting home runs as you can. And Oneil, I feel, fits that bill well. So
who can hit the ball the hardest? Who can hit the ball the furthest? This home run he just hit today, 116 miles per hour, 458 feet. By the way,
that's it.
He just talked about him, how many times he's hit the ball over 120 miles per hour. I posted that joke thing today about a kid getting hit, and that kid actually replied to it. Apparently, the gif of was this kid playing in like I don't know if it was the Little League World Series or what, but misses the ball with his glove. It just hits him in the face. I said this could be some 10-year-old when Oneil Cruz hits a 120 mile per hour ball right at him. But I'm super stoked for this. I think it should be a lot of fun. I've always enjoyed the home run derby more so than the All-Star game. So I'm excited. Like the format, what the home run derby is, he makes perfect sense for it. I was upset that he hasn't been in it in the past. I think now is the perfect time for this to happen. So I'm excited about the way that this whole field's kind of coming together as well. We'll see. There's 3 spots remaining, I believe. We'll see who get those other 3 spots. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun and give Pirates fans a reason to tune into All-Star weekend. Like, because whether it's Oneil Cruz in this, Paul Skenes being in the All-Star game for the second straight season, despite everything that's going on so poorly with the Pirates, they got the reason to tune into All-Star week because of those 2 guys.
Yeah, I look at it. Isn't the NBA the same thing with like the slam dunk contest? Like you're not necessarily an all-star to participate in that competition.
Donnie Chedra just put it out. The guy that's won 3 straight has played in 5 NBA games.
Yeah, so I feel like it's more entertainment value than anything. Why
not only is he not a good NBA player, he doesn't even play in the NBA.
Yeah, that's true.
This would be okay, the argument that you can make, if Oneil Cruz was playing in Double or AAA, but participating in the MLB Home Run Derby, then you'd have an argument against him. That would be the case of this guy that's won the dunk contest, Matt McClung. That's what we're talking about.
I wasn't even thinking about recent history. I was thinking about like back in what year would this have been? 2016? Like Zach Levine and Aaron Gordon. Like I don't think either of those guys were all-stars, but they were.
I mean, the 3-point contest, Jason Capono, probably going to really unlock some memories for people with that name. Like that was a dude in the 3-point contest that was not an all-star. Like these.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what the home run derby is to the MLB as opposed to these other ones. So yeah, it doesn't mean he's an all-star. He has not been an all-star this year, but in terms of what this contest is, he makes perfect sense for it.
So who are the other contestants? I'm looking it up right now. We have Ronald Acuna Jr. is going to be in the home run derby. Cal Raleigh, I feel like that's an obvious one. He just,
I believe James Wood.
Did he just set the record for the most home runs before the All-Star break, or did he tie the record?
If he played the Pirates every day, he certainly was already.
Yeah, broken. James Wood from the Nationals. Byron Buxton.
Buxton, okay.
Oneil Cruz.
I think that's it so far, right?
I
think that's 5 of the 8.
That's it so far. Yeah. So I think it's going to be entertaining.
I would like to see Ellie De La Cruz added to this.
Yeah, well, that's what I was looking at to see if he was in there too.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I feel like this is a competition where it doesn't matter if they're an all-star or not. Just give me the most home run gifted freaks in the MLB.
Yeah, I don't think Judge is going to do it. We'll see if he ever does. That feels kind of like a LeBron in the dunk contest type thing.
Yeah, well, he's just got to focus on his at bat against Paul Skenes this year.
Yeah. All right, well, let's talk about the Paul Skenes aspect of it then. He's making an all-star game for a second straight season. We will see if he ends up being the starter. I kind of think it's going to end up being Zach Wheeler. And I think he's deserving of it and everything. I'm not going against him there. But obviously, I think the team results are going to play into that if that's the case.
Sure.
Interestingly, Paul Skenes still the betting odds favorite to win the National League Cy Young. Just like that, I would say if I was betting right now, I would think it would be Zach Wheeler for that same reason that I bring up with the All-Star game start. But maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised, and it will be Paul Skenes making a second straight All-Star game start. Don't know exactly where we could take this conversation. Obviously, he's deserving of this. I don't think that he needs our endorsement for it. But we've had this conversation before. His record sits at 4-7, despite having a sub-2 ERA. He has become the poster boy for starting pitching wins do not matter. Obviously, as a team, you need to win the ball game. But you look at Paul Skenes' performance this year. How are you going to, with a straight face, tell me that wins matter for starting pitchers?
You can't. I'm looking at on MLB.com. I'm looking at the leaders in ERA for qualified pitchers who are starters, and he is first in the MLB with ERA at 1.94 with a 4-7 record to go for it. You have to, and then I may have skipped over somebody, but I don't think so. You have to scroll down all the way to the 21st pitcher with I'm gonna butcher the name. You say Kikuchi? He plays for the Angels.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
That should tell you all you need to know is that he plays for the Angels, so nobody knows how to pronounce his name. But he has a 3 ERA and has a losing record. But he's the 21st highest starter as far as ERA goes, or 21st best, I guess I should say. And he has a losing record. All 20 that are in between him and Paul Skenes have winning records. And I feel like this more now than ever should show, with him being in first place in ERA, 19 starts, a 4-7 record, including one complete game, by the way, too. It just goes to show that this just does not matter whatsoever. It shouldn't matter because there's so much more relying on a pitcher getting a win than just the pitcher performing. Because as we can see, Paul Skenes can be the best MLB pitcher, and if your team doesn't score runs for you, it doesn't matter. If he allows 1 run in a game, but his teams can't score any, it doesn't matter. So that's why ultimately it is what it is. Like, and maybe to a lesser degree, but it's kind of like similar to, I won't say all goalies. I don't think it's apples to apples in this case, but like you look at the NHL, there's a lot of decent goalies that are on really bad teams, and then bad teams are playing in front of them. I don't necessarily think that all win-loss records for goaltenders are going to tell the story of how that goaltender actually is on the ice. I think the same thing for Paul Skenes, but even more so. I feel like anybody can look at Paul Skenes and what he's doing and see how impressive it is and realize that his team around him is just terrible and they suck.
Yeah, they do. There's very few hitters in this lineup that if they were literally anywhere else, they're probably not making the cut. Smitty from around the 412 here, and while I may not have much hair, the hair that I do have will not be cut by anybody besides Keek at Keek's Barbershop. My friend Christian Circle, been with us since day one. Keek's Barbershop, located 401 Burkitch Way, Suite 2 in Beaver, PA. Download the app The Cut book an appointment with Christian today, or you can do walk-in with Tony or Ashley. But again, Teeks Barbershop, 401 Burkitch Way, Suite 2 in Beaver, PA. Go check them out. Old school vibe in there. Absolutely love it. Cannot recommend them enough. Wouldn't go anywhere else. Maybe I'll see you there. Yeah, not my best work, I don't think, but we had to get that transition in there. Yeah, I don't know that I have much else to say on the Pittsburgh Pirates as a whole. We're approaching the trade as much as we're approaching the All-Star break. We're also approaching the trade deadline. I think it's going to be a very interesting time. I saw somebody put out there like Mitch Keller, the return might not be as good because of the contract that he carries, and I was like, the contract he carries is like
contracts is fine.
What? Yeah, is exactly why the return should be good. Like for the return on the value that he's returning for that price tag should be why the return is a lot, in my opinion. So I don't know, maybe some disconnect there in terms of how the league feels about him, but I guess we'll see. Maybe we won't. Who knows if Mitch Kelly's ready to trade? The one thing that I feel pretty good about, honestly, I know we discussed this last week. It was more of like a what we would do. I think Santana's for sure getting dealt. I feel like Bednar is pretty close to that as well. And I have no clue what this bullpen's going to look like post-trade deadline.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about another guy who's getting killed because of his record, probably. Mitch Keller, like 3.59 ERA, which is serviceable, solid. It's good for 36th in the MLB among starting pitchers. But I feel like the ERA has been ballooned by just a couple bad outings. But also,
was it like right off the bat, beginning of the season against the Yankees?
There's only been a couple starts where he actually has had like poor performances. I feel like a lot of the time he has been pretty solid.
Yeah, he gave up 7 in his first start, and he gave up 6 in a game in June to Houston. Other than that, he hasn't given up more than 4.
Yeah, and you look at his record; he's 3-10. Like that is another guy, perfect example of not getting any support when it comes to the offense that's being behind him whenever he pitches. And that's just the story. That goes back to what I was saying. It's the story of the Pirates season, and it's going to continue that way despite that 6-game stretch where they had a historical offensive run.
He's 3-10, but he's actually gotten wins his last 2 times out. Yeah, he was 1-10 back on June 21st, just a couple starts ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like if you're not that I necessarily think that Bob Nutting or the Pirates would give Paul Skenes a ton of say into what they do in the offseason, but if you're Paul Skenes, you just look at what you're doing statistically as a pitcher by yourself and then point to your win-loss record and say, like, this needs to be fixed. That should be the glaring point for this upcoming offseason for the Pirates.
I gave my opinion on this about the Wheeler thing. Do you think Skenes is going to be the starter, or do you think it's going to be Wheeler? I think it's between those two.
I think it will be Wheeler. And I feel like the Pirates being bad is going to play into that. I feel like last year it wasn't really a factor as much as it's going to be this year, just because like Skenes was a rookie. It was an anomaly coming up. And so it was like almost you have to put him in. But now that he's over a full year into the MLB, I feel like there is less of a – I want to say less of a draw. I mean, it's Paul freaking Skenes. There's a huge draw for Paul Skenes. But it's hard to explain. Like I just feel like with the state of the Pirates, it's the same reason why, even though he's the betting odds favorite for the Cy Young, I feel like there's going to be a lot of baseball writers that have a hard time giving him the award because if he continues the way he's going, because of the team that he's playing on, because of the results in the win-loss category, how stupid that decision may be in my mind, and for a lot of people that look at it just as an individual award and not just the team award. But at the end of the day, I feel like that's going to play into a lot of people's minds.
Yeah, no, I agree, unfortunately. All right. Well, good stuff. Let us know your thoughts. Anything that we talked about today. Oneil Cruz in the home run derby. Yeah, really looking forward to those thoughts. Paul Skenes being an all-star and just the general direction, if there is one, for the Pittsburgh Pirates, not just in 2025, but beyond. We already talked about a couple of our sponsors, talked about one more right above Tyler right now, the logo for Marcelo Electric, our friend Brandon Marcelo, a.k.a. Boots, his small business serving Beaver, Allegheny, Lawrence, and Butler County, whether it's residential, commercial, or a service call. He's got you covered. Hit him up, 724-614-0611. Again, that's Marcelo Electric, 724-614-0611. Link down below in the description to his Facebook page, all his work, contact information there as well. Description also has the link for Game Changers, as we mentioned. Save $10 when you use code AT412 on your purchase. The app, The Cut, book an appointment at Keek's Barbershop, whether it's with Keek, Tony, Ashley, do walk-ins with them as well. And then year 8, rocking around the 412. We are rocking and rolling with this thing. Well over $500 raised already. The push to 40,000 continues. The push to 200 kids continues. Every single penny that is donated to this cause goes directly to giving kids in the 724 and 412 areas the Christmas that they deserve. Tyler and I had growing up and never had to worry about where it's coming from. We've been doing this, like we said, for 8 years. Last 3, we've been partnering up with the East Rochester Salvation Army, the Angel Tree that they do in the name of our friend Dalton Keene, who passed away. And we've been doing that for the last 3 years, and we'll continue doing that going forward. You have until probably actually, you know what? Let's figure out what the day will be right now, and I'll tell you guys what the cutoff date is going to be, because I can tell you, looking at a calendar, that we will do December 13th, Saturday, December 13th will be the cutoff point for donations. To the GoFundMe. It might need to be a little bit earlier for the Salvation Army portion of that, but just in general for the mission, December 13th, the cutoff point to donate at least $10. You'll be eligible to win a Pittsburgh sports memorabilia type prize. We're kicking around the idea. If you have any ideas of like other prizes, I'm actually curious about this, because while we do specifically Pittsburgh sports content, maybe we should diversify the prize a little bit, because people that are donating to the cause might not necessarily be Pittsburgh sports fans. They might just come across the mission, be wanting to do something good. So let us know if you have any ideas on that.
My guess for the Salvation Army is going to be Monday, December 8th, because I believe last year it was December 9th, Monday. That was the cutoff for the Salvation Army. So that's my guess. Obviously, nothing official yet, but our official is December 13th.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Good stuff there. Am I forgetting anything?
Also, Sarge wanted to give him a shout out. I opened a Snapchat of him, and he said, tell everybody on the pod that I said hi. So, hi, Sarge.
All right. Well, wish that wouldn't have happened, but that's what it is. But I think I got everything covered. So be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell if you're here on YouTube. Leave us a 5-star review, and subscribe if you're listening somewhere else, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from. Search around the 412. And regardless if you're watching or listening, go to all the other platforms. Do the same stuff. It's totally free. Best way to support us. Then find us on all of our social medias at Around the 412. You'll find Tyler at Weiler_Teach33, and you'll find me everywhere, Zachary Smith, PGH. For Tyler and myself, thanks for, I almost said jumping in. I'm on this afternoon drive thing. Thanks for joining us for another Around the 412 Pirate show. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.